Hi, it's Kylie from DIY Decorator, and I'm going to show you how you can measure up and photograph your room so that you can create a decorating plan for it. You'll need a measuring tape, a camera or your smartphone, and just some blank A4 paper and either a pen or pencil to record your measurements. So let's get started. So the first thing you need to do is identify the main or feature wall of the room. It might be where the fireplace is, where your bed is, where the television is. Let's call that wall A, and from wall A we're going to go clockwise around the room. So first thing we're going to do is measure from skirting board to skirting board. So we're going to start with wall A here. I'm going to draw it across like that. I'm going to write my total measurement across. I'm using centimetres, you can use millimetres. And then I'm just going to mark in roughly where the fireplace is. It doesn't matter if it's not to scale or proportion because it's the measurements that are important. Next I'm just going to measure from the corner to the edge of the fireplace, then the width of the fireplace, and then to the other corner, and record those measurements on my sheet. So as I record the measurements, this is going to be wall A, wall B, wall C, and wall D. And I'm just going to go along and measure out all those measurements. So I've measured the distance from the corner to the window, then the width of the window, and then from the window to the next corner. As you can see, the wall between the formal living room and the dining room is actually an arch with cupboards. So I just mark out the measurements of the cupboards and the measurements of the opening. If this was a door, I would measure the door and then I would work out which way the door opens and show that on the plan. And finally, just that wall that's got nothing on it, nice and easy. So now I have all my rough measurements done up. It doesn't matter, this opening here is 217 and these are only 90. It doesn't matter that they're out of proportion and out of scale, because when we draw it up to scale, we'll solve all that and bring them back here to make that opening bigger. The most important thing is just to get the measurements down and get them right. So that's your basic floor plan done. You can also mark on PowerPoints, light switches, and anything else that you think might be important. The next thing to mark on it is to mark like north, south, east and west, so we know what sort of light is going to come in through that window. I know that's a west facing window, so north is this way. North, south, east, west. If you get really good breezes from a particular direction, it's important to note that on your floor plan too. Now we need to draw up the elevation, and an elevation is simply just a flat drawing of one wall at a time that shows height as well as width. So starting with wall A, I'll just draw a rectangle with the fireplace in the middle and the picture rail running across the top. So now I have to take these measurements. I already have the measurement from here, from the corner to the fireplace. So now what I want to do is get the height, 121, and then the height to the picture rail, 89. So now you're going to do the same but for each wall in the room. So this is wall B. I'm going to measure from the floor to the bottom of the window, how high the window is, and then up. I just need all the measurements of how things are spaced so that when I do my planning, I have the correct measurements to work off. So now you have a floor plan, plus you have an elevation for each wall with all the measurements on it. The last thing to do is take some photos. And this is the way I like to take my photos. Each wall face on, A, B, C, C and D. And then I like to take each corner so that I get a two-dimensional perspective of the room. So I would start with corner 1, corner 2, come up here, take corner 3, and then corner 4. Some other tips for taking photos is to take your photos in landscape rather than portrait so that you get a wide angle perspective of the room, and also try to clear your room of clutter so you can really see the room and its potential. The first step in planning your room will be to actually draw up a scaled drawing of using all the measurements you just took. The most common scale in interior decorating just for a single room would be 1 to 20. That means that for every 20 centimetres that you measured on the floor would represent 1 centimetre on a piece of paper. Now you can buy scale rulers where you just measure along, or you could divide every number of centimetres by 20 to work out how many centimetres to draw on your plan. I'll go through that all in detail on the blog post so that you can see step by step how to do it, but it's not that complicated. So I hope that helps. Now that you've got all your photos and measurements, you're ready to start planning your room, and that's the exciting part.